2025. Select Board meeting is now in session. My name is Hope, I'm Chair of the Board.
Catherine Tarnowski.
Mark Casper.
And I will ask anybody who wants to speak to any items or agenda issues, to please step up to the podium and use the microphone. So that'll facilitate the transcription and all that kind of whiz bang magic stuff that it does. First, before we start any further, one of the things that I just want to offer both to the board and we'll pass on to the other boards. The police department, Lieutenant Blaze has spent a lot of time and a lot of energy ensuring that the IT is set up for all the meetings. And if you are running a board or a meeting, please follow the directions that are listed and posted. That will preclude him getting calls on his off-duty time and just facilitate and make it easier all the way around. We've made a lot of progress with this system over this year and getting to the point where we've got a handle on it, but we just need everybody, all the board chairs to that. First item on the agenda is the Newfields Elementary School Safety Committee report plan.
Bunch of us.
There's a bunch of issues.
I think some of you guys have seen this. I'll add a little bit more.
You want to save yours? I have notes on mine that I like.
Well, I can also add in
See, all right.
a little bit more context.
You know,
Okay.
Thank you.
What are these?
Okay, I'm Karen Steyer. I live on Heath Drive, and I'm one of the members of the safety committee. The committee was formed after the budget hearings last year, and it's made up of 11 members from the town, including people from the school itself, teachers, a teacher and administrators. It also includes Jane is the board member representative and people in the community who were interested in volunteering. So it was a completely open committee. Anybody that wanted to be on it could be on it. And this is what it ended up being. We met starting in April of 2025 to try and figure out if there was anything we could do to move the initiative forward to make the school safer for the kids. And we started out with a brainstorming session where we sat around trying to identify what were the pieces that we were really trying to solve, with the goal of making this as fiscally responsible as possible, trying to take the cost down, reduce some of the scope of what it was. And we came up with 3 things that were clear to all of us about what the issues were. The first was the crossing of Piscassic, where the kids have to go across the street, through the fire department parking lot, across 2 rows of traffic, up the stairs, across more traffic when they get up to the top because of cars going around the school. The second was the actual cars that are there during pickup and drop off, and the buses for the kids that go down. It's a 2-way road going in, goes up around the school, past the school into the front. And so there were half a dozen places where kids or pedestrians might end up interfering with the vehicles. And so that was the second part that we focused on. And the third thing that came up out of these discussions was that the signage and the markings were terrible. So people didn't know which way they were supposed to go. The parking spaces weren't delineated. So people were parking all over the place. And in times like now, when we're starting to get snow, it became very dangerous for kids. The kids walked up from the unpaved parking lot through the cars that are coming. If somebody can't get picked up, the car has to pull over. So that's where we started. And we've worked really hard in trying to come up with a solution that might be fiscally possible for the town to approve. The committee met or presented about 6 weeks ago to the school board. This committee is a recommending committee. We don't have any decision making. We're all aware of that. We did try to leverage the experience of the people that were on the committee. So engineers, people who were finance people who had business project management experience, and educators that could actually tell us where the kids were. We all ended up going to the school to actually see what was going on so we could see firsthand where the touch points and the challenge points were. And then we've been spending the last month going around to different committees that are involved and decision makers in the town to give them a look at what we have. So I think you all have been in committee meetings, I think, where presentations were made. And we wanted to come back tonight just so if there were questions that you have about what the solution is, that we could maybe at least tell you what our thinking was about this. There'll be a bond hearing after the first of the year where the $500,000 recommended budget for this would go to the town to potentially be put on the ballot for March. There is a hope, given the work that we're doing, that this would be a project for summer of 2026. So that we would get the crossing signs, the moving the crosswalk, the redirecting of the traffic, the extension of the actual parking to go into the second lot that the school owns, and that all that could be done before the kids came back to school.
Strong work.
Are you going, Jane?
No.
Or, okay.
I'm here to answer questions. I really wanted to make sure that the committee's voice was heard here. This is their work. And if, this is a recommendation to the school board, but there have been a lot of thought and process behind this. So the school board has really been very supportive of all the work and the recommendation. Looking forward with.
I would like to start out by thanking the volunteers who have done all this work and put all the time in. And it's been quite an effort. And I appreciate people in town stepping up and working to solve problems. So thank you very much. And please extend that to the rest of the committee. What is your bond hearing date going to be? Do you have that date?
Yeah, I think I have to double check when it is, but it's not a question I had prepared, but yeah, it is in, I think, it's in February, January, I think, January.
In January.
I know it's been changed twice, so
Okay, so I'll put a TBD down for that one.
yeah, absolutely.
One of the things that when I stopped in that meeting a month or so ago, talking about getting the paving done from SAU funds, is that where that was coming from? It was to drop the cost of this project. And when I spoke to Mike on Friday for about an hour, that was one of the things that he referenced, that he'd gone back to you guys and talked about. Can you educate us more on where that is at and what the skinny is on that?
You mean the paving is not in the current budget?
Well, that's what I wanted to clarify, was that the SAU or the elementary school was going to do the paving, and that paving cost would not be included in this 500,000. Is that correct?
No, it actually is going to be. So the reason, there's a couple of different changes in there.
Okay.
Adding in the paving for putting it in under our typical budget raises our typical budget for that 1 year only. And it causes quite a spike in tax rates
In the elementary school budget.
for the elementary school budget. So after the school board and the SAU representatives had talked about what that impact of that would be, they decided not to put it into the school budget. So that is not a line item in the school budget. The paving is included in this
Overall 500.
this overall work. Yep.
So it's paving the old space
Yep.
that isn't going to be blocked off. So do you understand there'll be a block at the rear of between the rear of the school and where the parking lot is? So the cars won't be able to go along the side of the school, the front. So we wouldn't repave that.
Yeah, it would be resurfacing what is available to resurface and then putting new pavement in for the rest of that portion. Yeah.
I'm looking at this flow here, and I believe we're still using the same entrance on this diagram to come in. And Chief, didn't you, in your conversations, recommend that the flow be reversed?
We talked about, because the drop off was going to be in the back of the school, so we had some concerns when I met with Mike, the lieutenant, as well as Principal Griffith, that we thought that the traffic would back up out to 87 if the drop off was going to be in the back of the school. It currently almost backs up now, and the drop off is in front of the school. So Mike was supposed to take that back to the committee and discuss the concerns regarding that.
And that's a conversation I had with him also on Friday.
Yeah, and go ahead.
Currently, right now, committee hasn't met again. So Mike has told us about it, but we have not as a committee done the take back and reassessment and see if things change. This is a concept. Doesn't mean that it is final, but we are absolutely are taking, this is why we're here. We're taking back, all the feedback, and we'll meet in January as a group and then see what changes need to be made and figure out what the implications of those changes are.
One of the other things that I discussed with him, and I think you may have talked about also, Chief, was opening this up to 2 lanes,
Yeah.
one for bus lane and one for drop-offs and non-bus people coming in. And the only issue with that is if they reverse the direction and come in from the western entrance, then the doors are going to be open into the traffic side. So that would require, the thought process in our discussion on Friday was have a wider area so the bus could pull over further, and then it wouldn't be coming out of the bus into the traffic lane.
Yeah, those are kind of the things that we'll end up going through in this committee, whether we want to do a 2-lane, whether we want to deal with it with signage, whether we want to, all the different options. We'll probably have a little bit of a workshopping session to take this feedback and see how we can work it, whether it's, 2 lanes, 1 lane, everything. Right now, there is enough room to do all of that. We just need to see what the kind of workshop those implications, but yes, absolutely.
And there's always the option where in regular traffic, vehicles aren't supposed to pass a stopped bus, but behind the school, technically they can, but that doesn't mean they have to continue to be allowed to. So that's also another way if there's not an option for 2
You
lanes,
reverse the buses.
simply not allowed to pass stopped. Period is also something to throw in there in the mix.
And that situation is going to bring up, if
Yeah,
we're coming from
people
either entrance, it's going to start backing it up onto 87 again.
Right.
I
There's
think that's
a
a 2-lane option. would be-
Yeah, there's a couple of
Loading
different
area.
things where we're thinking out on how to alleviate that potential situation, whether it's reversing, whether it's, if people are, most of this is probably, we're estimating, granted, estimations aren't perfect, but it being more applicable during pickup because people do park there for like a half an hour before pickup. And whether that's something that we can manage and just say, hey, sorry, you cannot be here during, when pickup starts. You can't be here 20, 30 minutes beforehand. I can tell you, my dad was one of those guys picking up my kids. So, but yeah, those are kind of all the things that we're thinking about. And we've put together a nice little spreadsheet with Chief's feedback, some of the things that you've talked to Mike about individually, and then we're going to kind of go through those next month. But we very appreciate it. This is what we're doing.
I know Bill Meserve had asked you at the planning board meeting about impermeable surfaces. And have you been able to move forward on that?
It's not yet, because we haven't met to go through any, we're literally taking all the information. When I talked to TF Moran very briefly about it,
When you talked to one, sir?
TF Moran, who is the architect, there was not an issue. And if that's kind of the next step, once we get to a plan set, which and this is finalized, we will then put in, like, if there's any rain retention kind of thing, so things don't go into Piscassic, whether it's rain gardens, things along those lines to capture any runoff, because we are putting in additional.
Yeah, and that's going to bump your costs up with the rain garden.
It is
The impermeable.
currently already estimated
Yeah.
into this. This is a not to exceed. All of our estimates are currently no more than $475,000, $480,000. That's the highest we've gotten.
Is there a contingency fee in those?
Yep, there's
Much?
about 5% that's typical for construction projects. So this is well within that. And if we run into, oh, we're going to eat into this, there are some things that we can start removing from this that are nice to haves. Like on the side of the building, there's green space, and in the front of the building, there's some
There's what?
green space. We can remove that. And that's going to be able to reduce, regardless. The goal is not to go up to $500,000. It is to get a quote and to be within a reasonable amount of money, but it will not exceed $500,000.
When's your next meeting?
When's the next meeting? January, what did we say?
It's the first week after the holiday.
It's like the 7th or 8th or 9th. That's like that.
We're not going to meet between now and then.
I can't.
We're not going to meet between now and then. Yeah.
So thanks. I can send you that detail.
It just seems like you've got a lot of access to get in the block here in a short period of time.
This group is up for it. We have.
I don't doubt that, but I'm just saying, and you think, you're holding that 500K solid. You're holding that hard.
Right now, yeah, I can't imagine that it will go down. We've already reduced it.
I'm sorry.
Go down.
It's okay.
Years.
No, that's okay. We've already reduced it. So for example, there was a bid that came in at 6, and then we talked about things that we could change and what was included and what wasn't included. Then it went down to 5, to 5. So we're making sure to be really careful about all the different estimates that we're getting. They're very detailed, they're line items, they're not technically bids. We're not at that point yet, but they are very line item estimates.
And we did get from 3 different resources, right, that Keith helped.
Keith's right here.
Keith helped put together the line items we're going to use. Very different from what happened last time, right? Where it was just sort of,
Thrown out there.
1.8 million for the whole. I thought did a really good job of trying to figure out what the pain points were going to be for this. For example, one of the bids originally came in with paving that parking lot. That's the lower lot next to the school. And it's outrageous. You can't justify that right now. So that's off the table. It'll get graded down so that it can be driven on. It won't be plowed. It won't be used probably in the bad weather. It's overflow parking for events and for the fields. And so, you can't justify that spend. But all 3 quotes came in within $50,000, $60,000 after we took the parking lot away.
One more question that comes to mind, and as I discussed when I came out to the board meeting, you also have a plan A and a plan B, and when plan B fails, you have a plan C. If this does not pass, what is the plan for dealing with crosswalk?
It's going to be a tough one because right now, the SAU is looking to make sure that this do as much as they can to make this pass. We really want to make sure that this passes. If it doesn't, then this committee will have to reconvene and see what we want to do, whether it's abandon something like this and look for repaving only, or, go into one of the trust funds to pay for the crosswalk. The crosswalk is not just putting the light in, it's moving it, out of that dangerous spot. You can't do anything about the glare. That's, Mother Nature, but we can put in lights and we can get it going, changing it over. So there are other options, but this one is the one that we're right now moving forward with. If it doesn't happen, then this committee will reconvene and see what the next steps are. So B and C are TBD.
TBD.
And I think, Hope, you understand that if it were to go in the budget, then it's a tax cost, right? If we were to put it there, or if they were to put it there as a line item, it's automatically a tax cost. By holding back a little bit, I think the school board decided that they would come up with a solution. But to me, the solution we've come up with is such a reasonable solution compared to what we were looking at before, that we're hopeful that the town will support it.
And I don't disagree with you on that, Karen, necessarily, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, I agree.
You have to have.
Yes, always.
And as I know, everybody's getting sick of me. We're facing a lot of, as every year, it doesn't stop. We've got an HVAC system to replace. We've got ALS to fund. We've got a public safety complex warrant article to fund. We've got a lot on the plate. And so I don't know what kind of shell shock the voters are going to see, but I again applaud the fact that this is much better prepared than the project last year, and even better than the project that was put forth the previous year, where we didn't make the budget deadlines, et cetera, et cetera. So,
I'd like to mention that the crosswalk is essentially going to have to get addressed no matter what. And if nothing happens with this, the paving is still due to be done. And we would be paving something we're hoping to not use and change, which is like throwing good money after bad or fixing an old car. And it's just something to think about, because that cost won't go away. Crosswalk change won't go away. Paving is going to be required. So if this does pass, it incorporates expenses we would already be facing spending. And it's just something I want to keep in mind.
Well aware.
I mean, for everybody to be thinking about it, because when you're looking at something on a ballot and you're not present at the meetings, sometimes it just looks like sticker shock.
I had also mentioned to Mike about doubling the road in the back. And, you know, the other dynamic that you have here is these parking spaces. So I was just wondering if you have somebody that is a second pair of eyes for traffic flow. Because if you have someone looking at it saying, this is going to be a mess, people are going to be backing up, and you have one lane, it's not going to be, not going to work.
A lot of thought put into, you know, drop off, pick up being one lane too. And we're trying to reduce the amount of times kids are crossing over traffic.
Yeah.
And no matter where you drop off or pick up, with a bus, when you have two lanes, sometimes they're going to be going into the schools, sometimes they're going to be going into the playground.
Yeah.
So regardless, if there's a 2-lane, there will be in some days crossover. And depending upon, you know, whether it's reversed or not, where that door is could be, yep, you're going straight into the school, or nope, you're going around the bus and across the lane of traffic. So the pickup area, drop off pickup area in the back, being only one lane is at least safety conscious. You know, we could do 2 lanes into one, you know, you zipper in.
I think that's a better idea, just simply if you have a passing lane of
Yes.
some sort, because, you know, you drop parents dropping kids off, they take their time, right? They're not like, let's go, let's get in and out.
Yeah.
It's not,
It's
yeah,
not as seamless, right?
yeah. So
Even-
it's gonna back up. I guarantee you that'll,
Leaving
Yeah.
those parking spaces in the back of the building was important. We're adding in 10 spaces
Mhm.
in the back. And regardless of if this gravel lot is utilized or not, we need a few more spaces.
Mm.
The parking lot on the side of the building isn't going to be changed. But adding in a few more spots so we reduce that are properly marked is really important to be able to make sure that we have that space for parents.
The majority of those spots are for teachers and staff.
okay.
Okay, so it's not like parents are driving in there and then walking their kids into school. For the most part, you've got people that are there, you know, half an hour before drop off. But it's a good point to,
One of the other issues, talking to Jeff Buxton, was access to the front. He didn't need it to the far side, but that needs,
on the list.
but he needs to get to the northwest corner
Yeah.
property.
Yes, he mentioned that. And I believe when I talked to Mike about that, he ended up looking at it again. He was like, yeah, actually, no, just bringing it into the lot next door is okay. But that is something regardless, we're going to revisit.
It's on the list of stuff.
We'll go through it.
Mr. Engineer, do you have anything to add?
No, I think,
Microphone, please, sir.
Yeah.
And introduce yourself. Thank you.
my name's Keith Sanazuski. I'm on the committee, deputy co-chair. Committee.
Yeah.
So a couple questions you mentioned about the parking spots. I did ask Susie about that. And she said that the teachers are contractually obligated to stay until all students are gone. So moving cars in and out during the time of arrival and departure is not a problem. As far as everything else goes, I think that we did consider the double road, but I think we're concerned about the whole impact of the rain runoff and raising costs there, which we feel and whoever else to kind of finalize that engineering if we can put it in. But I think the main thing we looked on this approach is broken up in multiple scopes so that if we only have to do the crosswalk, we can. That's a standalone crosswalk by itself with the ramp going up, and we're still fine. If we can only do the crosswalk and the pavement, we're fine. If we want to do with a gravel road on the side, so we save that paving cost, we can do that. We can start eliminating and adjusting things based on the scope and the funds available. That was the whole thing. So it's not an all or nothing hit. It's
Visible.
this is what we got. This is the money. Okay, let's start adding and subtracting our scope for the betterment of the project, and do what we can, and then push off stuff that we that we can. You know, the green space, everybody likes it, not necessary. If we have to, we can push it off to another year, stuff like that. So that's kind of, that was the basis of our design, of our goal, was to really phase it in so that if we, you know, like some reason everything came back and we could add even more stuff, great, we'll do it. But you don't get more money. But I said, we want to make sure it's successful and do the, you know, what is necessary. And if we have to cut some of the fringe stuff off, we will, in order to maintain safety.
Has there been consideration of having the drop-off area be like, say, for, I don't know, 75 yards, 2-lane, and then going back to single lane, and that'll cut down on your double paving?
One of the options way back was having a double lane, if you know where you are over there, a double lane up until it hits the corner. That way you have two people stacked in before you go around the corner, or some other stuff like that. Yeah, we discussed it, but there's nothing, you can't change the pavement going around the side. You're stuck. There's too much, there's a giant slope on one side and a giant
Be
slope.
more in the back at the drop-off point, yeah.
Drop off point, yeah, up until you hit the power lines area, right where the concession stand is. Like that was where the double kind of didn't end, but we kind of just at the corner. I mean, it's again, that's something we can change. We were trying to eliminate the need of the retention basins and any drainage control going off the site. That's the main goal.
Understand, because if you just did, instead of doing a full 2-lane, if you did just a defined specified drop-off point for buses, that would.
Right.
So they flow.
Yeah. No,
Okay, I'm not an engineer, I'm not trying to design it, just throwing
no, and
conversation points that I've had with folks in town.
yeah, and that comes down to really the budget comes out. I mean, I think the double line is a double way is better, especially for
Or better.
the traffic and the amount of people that go in and out of there. And there's also nothing to say we can't put half of that as dirt to start with, gravel,
Do what?
half of it gravel. I mean, because it's not something that uses all the time. It's just used twice a day for a period of a half hour. So, again, the main point is flexibility. We can add and subtract as much as we need in order to get the proper goal. And a lot of that stuff is going to come in the engineering phase, which is the next phase. I mean, we're kind of at the limits with TF Moran right now, what they're willing to work with us on as far as, design phase. So when we get to the next engineering phase, that's where we can start really cutting and pasting these options.
Anything else from the board?
No.
Anything from the audience?
First of all, thank you. I'm just curious. So how many vehicles are involved?
Introduce yourself.
Oh, yes, sorry. Tom Redberg. How many vehicles are involved? And is it a 30-minute period twice a day?
It is, I can tell you the number of vehicles, Chief has a better idea.
It varies depending on weather. This time of year, there's a lot more drop-offs than warmer weather. Susie was supposed to use a clicker a couple weeks ago. I think we had the meeting a couple weeks ago. We had that frigid Friday. She was supposed to count how many, but this time of year with inclement weather, we don't have as many walkers. And we have less students waiting out for the school bus and parents dropping off. So it is far worse time of year than it is during good weather.
I'm sure it's quite variable. Yeah. Yeah.
The guesstimate I had heard was between 40 and 50 cars.
40, 50 car. Okay. And 10 years from now, it would be expected to be up by 30%, or is there any projection like that type of thing?
Like student attendance, it really depends on a lot of things. If the road property happens, then, this is going to have to get kind of looked at again to figure out, what that impact is, how many buses are going to be picking up in Newfields, how many buses are going to Exeter, what that student population looks like in 10 years from now. The school can definitely handle it. We want to make sure that they still.
Right, just a little bit of what ifs.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. All right, thank you. Yeah.
So we discussed that issue about expansion of the school. Right now, the school has a certain capacity, right? And right now we're designing to this capacity. If the school needs to be expanded beyond this capacity, then we're talking about a whole redesign and a whole new building, or not a whole new building, a whole new addition or anything like that, which that scope will be based into there. So we are designing for the school here for the capacity that the school has now. If it grows, it's a different, we can't project it at this point.
Hey, what's your census now? 120?
If I remember correctly, we have
118? And capacity is?
the capacity of the school has been up to I remember correctly, granted, so give me some leeway on this, it's somewhere between 160 and 180, has been the largest number of students in that specific, in the school. We have capacity in the school, and the footprint of the school won't change. If anything, if we ever all of a sudden have this massive boom, that school was built to have a second story on it. We will go up, not out. So,
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Mrs. McKinnon. Warrant articles.
You all have a list of the warrant articles?
I have a copy.
Okay, great. Right, so this is just a rough draft. Go through each one. The first one is operating budget. Of course, we don't know the amount for that at this point. We still have year-end payables to do, and we don't have our final numbers yet. Did you also get a revenue and expense statement of this?
Yes.
Okay, good. Then, so that's the operating budget. That one's always first on our list. Article 2 is the future purchase of a fire truck. And that's the usual $50,000, if that's what we're doing.
One of the things on that, this payment, this 50 will bring it up. And what we have in the account now with the interest will cover the cost of the new truck in June. That said, the market needs to hold so that we don't have to bump that up. And I will be staying in touch with Mr. Yevich and Jeff, so we can keep an eye on that. And they'll probably need 3 weeks notice prior to pulling that money out of the account.
Okay,
That's fine. So it's kind of debatable. Jeff had talked about 58 to 60,000 instead of 50, all depending on the market again.
okay, so we're leaving this at 50 for now. That's okay,
Just wanted to get that on the record. So
perfect. And then the next one was the fire department equipment, and Jeff had mentioned increasing that to 4,000 rather than 2. Do you know anything about that?
I have heard that number. I've heard that discussion. I will follow up with him and see where he's
Okay.
about it, but I believe it was going to be, his intent at one point was to go to 4.
Okay, perfect. The next one is the town hall expendable trust fund. As you know, we spent about 17,000 of what we appropriated last year. So I didn't know how much you'd like to put back in that. It was 20 last year. I don't know what would you,
My thought on this board is 10. Because we pretty well buttoned up town hall. We've got all the exterior work, not needs or not wants, but needs are done. The fascia's been replaced and the foundation is good and all the brickwork and the mortar work is all good,
And the furnace is good.
relatively.
so 10 on the,
I would just bump it a little bit, because if you do have something like a furnace going out,
Well, we can bring up one thing. There was some discussion that we did not have enough money for the rain gardens, for the gutters. There was some discussions about cleaning those out, they're already filled with leaves and going with gutter guards for next year.
That'll probably come out of a line item on the budget.
Okay.
And we can always address that, because what do we put in that 3 soup? Isn't that usually what we have in there?
did put in 3 for maintenance.
Maybe we bump that up to 5 and the quid pro quo back and forth that I'd cover a furnace, so. Okay, so that's a tentative right there. So we'll note to check on the line item budget.
Oh, I guess.
my suggestion would be 15.
Is still there?
If you appropriate things like this, a good amount of stuff has not been,
The problem that we're running into here, and I'm not saying I disagree with you, but the problem we're running into, this is all coming out of unassigned funds.
Yeah.
And we've already hit that for 175,000 to drop the tax rate for this year. And we've got we've got the public safety complex warrant article, which will be unassigned funds. We've got the building and we've got a bunch more that will go through. And I just want to reference that unassigned funds has taken a hard hit. And we need to be very judicious on how much we look into that, tap into that.
Last year it was 335,000 that we used of our unassigned fund balance.
So
160,
0.7% now, right around there.
I don't recall, Hopey, what it was.
I think it's 700 change. From we were at 1.1 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Wait, so the year prior, we did 330 or
2025, 160,000 came out of the unassigned fund balance from the warrant articles we voted on, all these expendable trust funds. And then we used 175,000 to lower the tax rate. So that's a total of 335,000 that we've taken out of the unassigned fund balance in 2025.
what did we do
I
2024?
thought that was the
Year before,
the Hazel money we used to lower that, so.
that was in 2024, we had our Hazel money, which was 221,000 for that sheriff sale. And in 2024, I think we put 100,000 towards our tax rate. Do you want to come back and visit it after we add them all up? I mean, what?
Yeah, after we have to work our way through, please.
So the next one is the road maintenance expendable trust fund. It was 50,000. Imagine you might want to decrease that. Or not.
Brian came through and his paving number was for 240 this year.
Okay,
That was for doing deer trees, Hayden and Swampson.
Okay.
He wanted to look at. I'm kind of leaning towards 25,000 on that because if we do those 3 roads and once we did this year, we're catching up on our road paving plan of approximately a mile per year. Let me liaise one, if the board's amenable, we'll put 25 on that and then I will speak with Brian on that one.
Sure. 25 is fine.
next one is the legal expendable trust fund.
Mhm.
We did expend all the money we put aside in 25 for this year because we spent so much money. So I left the 35 in there, but I didn't think you'd want to put that much, but you tell me.
Yeah.
I'd like to knock it down maybe to 25
Yeah.
or something like that.
Make-
20. Thing.
I would be happy with 25. I absolutely hate to do it, but I think we need to use it as a buffer and protect ourselves.
So in the line item, we're appropriating, oh, I guess maybe we haven't talked about it.
No, we haven't.
Okay, sorry.
It's a,
The legal line item, I had it in at 20,000 for next year, but I guess the board didn't, that's it.
We haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah, okay. I'm jumping ahead. So legal, we'll go down to 25. The ALS, what was that number? I wasn't sure.
Okay, so on the ALS issue, we have it paid for by the William Donner Foundation, paid for it for 25.
Okay,
They're gonna pay for it for 26. We put $25,000 into the trust fund. We've gone 32 years without paying a penny for this service. And we have a placeholder in the budget of $1 for a line item. And I think we just need to start working that amount of money into the tax budget because it's going to be something we're going to have to live with. Or if you don't have it, you won't worry about living with it.
so this money will go into the expendable trust fund, but in 2027, we should plan on putting it into our operating budget, you're saying?
Yes,
Okay.
because it's going to be based on the 2024, even though it wasn't the federal census, there was a head count in town. And the one that they're using at Plasto ALS had us closer to 2,000 head in town. And it will be based per head. And the last number I had was approximately $26 a head. And so it's my belief and recommendation that we put this number into the operating budget starting in 27. So if we put something into the ALS fund,
ahead of
I don't see a point of putting 25,000, another 25,000 and hitting the undesignated funds that hard. I'd be amenable at some point discussing a number and getting a recommendation on where to go. Am I making sense? Sue?
Perfect.
I'll put a big TBD by that one.
Yes. All right, Article 8 is the revised tax credit for service-connected total disability. So in 2025, the legislature passed a new law that a veteran, if he had the service-connected total and permanent disability, he or she could not also take the veteran's credit. They're combining them together. So if you're a veteran, right now you get a $500 credit on your taxes. If you're a service-connected total and permanent disability, you get $1,400 off of your taxes. So what this does is it combines the amount for someone who gets the service-connected disability. So we want to at least, right now it's 1,400 plus the 500, you want to at least adopt it so that they don't lose out on any money. You'd want to adopt the new veterans credit for service-connected disability at 1,900 to keep it the same.
I think that's an excellent idea.
So it's the same, but we are abiding by the law, the new law.
Administrative Joe is what it is.
It is housekeeping,
1,900.
and there's no dollar amount to this, but, well, that would be a vote of the board. Do you want to go with 1,900?
Pretty good. Barbara?
Okay.
Okay.
Then Article 9 is to appoint agents to the Sewer Maintenance Trust Fund. Shall the town vote to appoint the Newfields Village Water and Sewer District Commissioners as agents to expend from the Sewer Maintenance Trust Fund, established in 2003? Apparently, I don't know if there were no agents or if it was the select board. Perhaps there's no agents, and they like to be able to expend from that trust fund. The water commissioners. And so that's one of theirs. And then another one is to appoint them as agents for the water department maintenance expendable trust fund. Same thing, there's no agents appointed, and this would appoint the water and sewer district commissioners. And all these funds are with the trustees of the trust funds. And the last one for the water and sewer department is the standpipe maintenance expendable trust fund. To appoint them agents of that one also.
Can I get somebody from the water department to explain to me the standpipe?
Yeah, I was going to ask that. Like, what is that?
What is standpipe maintenance? Instead of saying water tower, it's a standpipe. It's exactly the same, but different.
Why does that have to be standalone from the others? Why not this?
Already established as individual trust funds.
They just need
You
it.
can't combine them. It's the way it was does.
Good.
John Hayden, I'm one of the water commissioners in town. The standpipe is sort of a separate and aside entity on its own from the buildings and the sewer plant and other items. It has to be inspected and cleaned every 5 years. There's, certain requirements by DES because it's a public water supply. So that's why it's its own
Item. Gotcha.
And to be fair, we really don't know who agents are for this. They more than likely, these funds were established at that time back in early 2000s and the 1990s. There probably were no named agents, assuming that the town would be the voting. So the commissioners would have to go to the town to get the vote to be able to expend the funds, which, as we all know from other funds that the town has for fire and town hall maintenance and so forth, you need to name an agent.
Such as the select board or whoever. Yep.
If you, yes, want to expend from that fund other than having to come before the town, which that'll be up to the town to decide if they want us to come back every time to ask for money from the funds. So
Thank you, sir.
clear it up.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John. Oh,
Talking about that.
I was gonna do a little investigative work on that revenue fund. We might have another one.
Yeah, just FYI, we're,
Article 12. For the
yeah, for the,
safety building.
this is for the water and sewer there may, so there's a trust fund currently, the Varney Trust Fund for water expansion, but that was, I believe, something that was put in place before the water district was established. So technically, the town is the one that would vote to expend funds from that. So we're hoping to correct that one as well, but there may be some issues with that, so we're trying to vet that out before we, as a warrant article. But you may see that, just as a heads up.
Thank you.
Thanks, John. All right, so, and Article 12 is for the Public Safety Building Expendable Trust Fund that we would like to create for the purpose of designing, engineering, planning, and other professional services to address the critical need for a public safety building in the future. And actually, we don't know the amount yet. I apologize. That's just a placeholder because they'd like to, this committee that's meeting would like to start putting some money aside. So we don't have an amount for that.
Meeting is Thursday, correct? At 5:30.
Yeah.
So we should be able to get a number in there. I have an idea what it's going to be, but I will leave it until which time you project otherwise.
And then there'll be an Article 13 citizens petition for $5,000 for the library maintenance expendable trust fund.
How much?
$5,000. Because they have no money, expendable trust fund. So that hasn't come in yet, but I know it's out there. I haven't heard anything about the citizens petition for anything else for either the library full-time person, or I didn't know if there would be one for the HVAC system. I haven't heard anything. Okay,
I'm not
so,
still working the HVAC issue.
okay. So with those numbers we just went over, that's a total of 184,000 in warrant articles. If we leave town hall at 10 and we adjust the other ones as we just mentioned,
Public safety unknown.
right? And there might be other citizens petitions that we don't know about. They have until, the residents have until January 13th, which is the day of our budget hearing. So we would have to discuss them that evening at that meeting. And so I've formulated this budget. I don't think I hadn't had this ready, but it's not complete yet. I didn't know if you wanted to review this tonight or not. Can't be final yet because we still have bills to pay. But I didn't know if you like what you wanted to appropriate for legal for the upcoming year, if we want to do any of those.
I am going to propose later on that we have another select board meeting next week. So we can,
Yeah, that's a good idea.
and then we'll have this all prepared and go through it,
Okay,
have it done next week. We'll cover that.
Sure.
Now,
okay. Perfect.
thank you,
Anything
sir.
else? You're welcome.
Any other questions from the board? Ex officio planning board.
So, top things, the next planning board meeting, January 8th at 7 PM will be another hearing specifically on the language changes to accommodate law changes for ADU related requirements by the state that our town ordinances don't account for currently. That includes related parking, that our language doesn't match what the state requires. Dwelling size limits will also be talked about, minimums, maximums, as well as mixed use of housing in commercial zones, which is also a state initiative. And our current zoning laws don't account for what the state has made legal. And these changes are required for the town to be able to avoid conflicts when developments and projects come forward, so that our language matches and we don't get ourselves in hot water, and that we assert control and responsibility in the ways that we are still able to assert control and responsibility. The state has taken some of that away from us, but these measures are important to be able to be in alignment, and the language is being further refined, and the likely would be the last hearing, hopefully. There's been 2 already. This will be the 3rd, specifically on those topics. Additionally, we heard the presentation on the school safety project, and there was a good, thorough discussion about that. And we also have received as a select board the kick up from the Great Bay Mobile Lighting concern that they are, in my opinion, out of compliance, and the planning board tried to handle it amicably with them to alert them that they appear to be out of compliance with the plan that was approved by the planning board. They simply said they disagree. And so now the select board, being an enforcement board, needs to handle that, and that will get deferred to a later meeting because we need access to the full file for review to make a decision on how we want to move forward. So we don't need to discuss the topic further, but that will be coming this way. And then the SIP update, some of the departments are doing a great job getting their information to the town planner for like the 5-year look ahead on development, growth, and needs. And some departments are taking a little bit more time getting the data forward for that to happen. And there was a resignation. Jeff Kuchar resigned from the board, and steps will be taken by the planning board to look at offering the open spot based on the tenure of the alternates first before it goes further. And then the last bit was the Muddy River follow-up on the readings for their septic load, because their request was to use the house as a residence rather than the apartment over the garage. They came forward and requested that, and are producing readings that show their restaurant business, event business, and the housing. Looks like it will likely fit into the maximum allowed regular flow for the septic. But the planning board will also continue to monitor that so that they aren't operating exceeding their flow for any length of time. I think that's, there was an extension given to the shared driveway subdivision deadline for Piscassic for there was a 1 lot subdivided into 2, and they needed some more time to finish getting what they need to do and have their plan recorded. So they have, I think, 1 more month to get that done.
Mark?
Okay, Conservation Commission had a meeting yesterday. There was a mention or some discussion on the school safety project. Concom also voted to have 1 alternate, and that alternate was Dan Blemmings, 19 Halls Mills Road. Also discussed an update on the bylaws, and they'll be updating these details on the next meeting. Is that correct? Yeah. They'll be, I think they kind of just extended the timing for changing those bylaws for the next meeting. We also discussed the CSX letter, that it was submitted and waiting to hear back from them. That CSX, when I did get a response back, it's saying that there's there may be, we'll let you know what the charge is for the application. Charge? You got to pay to request to purchase something? I don't know. So we'll see what happens with that.
Any correspondence come through that the board should know about
Correspondence.
to the Conservation Commission?
No.
Yeah. All right, moving along. We have the noise monitoring reports for the noise monitoring that was done at Vernon Family Farm this summer. There was 4 events with 3 sites per. This information is now in the hand of the board, and it will be released as of tonight. So if anybody wants it, they can pick it up tomorrow. this will be going to town council, and I don't believe it's appropriate for us to delve into this now because there's multiple considerations in regards to this issue. So I would offer that's where we will leave it, but it will be available for pickup from the town clerk's office. Another issue in regards to same, which I will address, is Tuesday received a letter from Gerard's in regards to an event that took place this summer, a comedy night with some it's a free speech issue in some ways, but there's also an issue here as far as some of the language, but that is nothing I have the skill set to go into. This will be going to council, and council will be able to advise us on how to proceed on this. And I can't read to you the comments that were written in the letter from that comedy event. So that will be going to council. And it isn't because I can't read them, it's just they're inappropriate to read in a town select board meeting. All right, and they did say that they had sent it to the conservation commission, that letter, and to Durbin.
Was not mentioned yesterday.
Gotcha. Any questions on what I just released? We good? Okay. Next item on the agenda is minutes, previous meeting. Anything on the minutes?
I sent a minor edit, Keisha, just to put in quotes.
Are you good?
With the minutes. Yeah.
Okay, so for the Tuesday, December 4th, everybody's all set. I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And for Tuesday, December 9th, make a motion to accept the minutes.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
January meeting dates, 6th and the 13th. Looking at January. In my high-tech paper calendar. The 6th, Tuesday the 6th is when we have to finalize all warrant articles. The budget hearing will be on the 13th. I would make a recommendation. We are going to have a meeting on the 22nd at 4:30. That we have a public meeting before that. Are you going to be available before that meeting, Mark, or not?
Yeah, I could be on remotely. I might be able to get home by 4:30. So.
Okay, so the non-public will be at 4:30 till 6.
Mm-hmm. 4:30 to 6.
The Monday, the 22nd.
Yes.
Yeah. 4:30, the 6th. What you were saying,
4:30
6
p.m.
Yeah.
Until 6 p.m.
Okay.
See, if I given to you 1630 to 1800, it wouldn't be confusing.
That just sounded like a extended amount of time.
Suggesting a public meeting prior.
And a select board meeting prior to that. So maybe at 3 o'clock.
And would that preclude meeting on the 23rd?
Yes.
Great.
So 50, so we go from 3 till 4:30 and then have that non-public from 4:30 to 6.
Perfect.
Keisha, did you get that?
I did not, I'm sorry, I was trying to keep.
Okay. Okay, so the 22nd?
22nd.
of
Monday.
Next Monday, from 3 o'clock till 4:30. And then from 4:30 till 6, non-public. Okay. Quarterly payroll, oh, do have something here, quarterly payroll and stipends that we get, it's reflecting the same pay rates for all the people that get paid for doing what they do for the town. And I'll just go through them. Select board is $500 a quarter for a whopping $2,000 a year. Building inspector is $35. $1,500 per quarter, but half of all building permit fees upon receipt. The treasurer is $1,500 per quarter. And the board secretary is $25 an hour for the boards. And we've got a adjustment coming up on that as far as personnel.
We do.
Okay. Trustees of the trust funds, there's 3 people in that position, $250 a year. The fire chief, and we need to make a change on there as far as the assistant chief, is $250 a year. So that's an open position. Deputy treasurer is $250 a year. Cemetery trustees are $250 a year. The health officer is $250 a year. On elections, half day is $50. Full day supervisor is moderator and Lynn Sweet is $100. Supervisor sessions for a half an hour is $20. Training plus mileage, $20. Badging elections is $150. And the deliberative session is a whopping $25. And these are the same numbers as last year. I'll make a motion. We accept these.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, quarterly payroll and stipends is done. We've talked about the meeting on the 22nd. Oh, I do want to correct something that I said when we had the last meeting and we were discussing LS, that it was my mistaken belief that it was $36,000 a year rental that they were paying for store or parking a vehicle, a fly car. It's $12,000 a year.
That's good.
$36,000 a month. And that covers everything I have on the agenda. Kat, do you have anything else?
Two quick things on in work. Traffic safety is not forgotten, and I will touch base with Sue. I'm working on drafting up an email to go out. It is a priority among other priorities. And so I'm working on it pretty much weekly, and that will be so like a public notice that goes out in the email to talk about an ongoing voluntary group specifically for an education and culture campaign around traffic safety in town. Additionally, I have to wrap up with Sue, my formal follow-up from the audit issues that I took care of, and I will get that back to you too. So I am on top of those two things. More from me later.
Now it will behoove us to start looking at, sorry, Kat. Department budgets. We want to start working our way through on those. This will be like watching paint dry. Says the man as he puts his hat on. Yes, ma'am. Up front, please, Ruth.
Thank you, Ruth Patterson. Just want to make a comment on the comedy night. It was an adult-only comedy night, and I think that's important to make sure that that clarification is in there.
Noted.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Fire budget looks easy if you guys want to take a look at fire budget.
What are we looking at? Where's,
2026. Fire department budget,
did we, do I have a sheet on this?
not today.
From the last.
Yeah, we talked, Mary said we'd work on the budget.
Yeah, okay, well, I'll just, you'll just surprise me and. Yes.
We want to continue, sorry, folks, we can continue the meeting here. All right, fire budget, 2025, Jeff was looking for $170,058. This year he's looking for $173,303, 1.85% budget increase. I will follow up with him, like I said, tomorrow, warrant articles, to see if he wants to bring that 2,000 up to 4,000. And that'll be that will be a tax impact. But I see no issue here on the way the fire department budget is spent. Moving from the fire department, I want to jump ahead to celebration. Celebration committee last year, it's gone up $1,810 over the previous year, which is well, last year was $9,290. I talked to Mike about at the last meeting about seeking donations to help cover the fireworks situation. Any thoughts on a budget number for celebration?
I mean, if it's a $1,800 increase, yeah, maybe we can ping some people for,
Is it an 1,800 increase or $1,000?
1,800.
Oh, it was an 1,800.
Yeah.
Okay.
listening.
It went from 9,290 to
Yeah.
11,100.
So, I mean, I'd be happy to even reach out to some people in town, like Muddy River. Maybe he would,
Well, Mike was going to do that. He was going to come up with a plan to talk to people.
great, yeah.
Do we need an increase of that scope? For what we're trying to do?
Well, if you look at the budget,
Looked like it was pretty straightforward.
it is pretty straightforward.
A quick question, does any revenue from merchandise sold go to any of these particular things, or is that unrelated?
That's unrelated.
Okay,
Senior luncheon was $1,800.
Yeah.
Fall festival was $2,000. Holiday celebrations, $2,300. And the big one for next year is $5,000 for Memorial Day. And I think that's for the fireworks.
right.
Um,
Do we want to try to split the fireworks with them? Pay some and look to donations for the fireworks to push it down, or just go for it and defray the cost? If there are donations.
I think if you allow that increase and still reach out to people in town to just make a donation.
so what you're saying is you want to stick with the 11-1?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Compared to 18?
11,100. It went up $1,800.
Right.
He's requesting, the celebration committee's requesting $11,100.
Right. Got it. I'm good with that.
Okay, leave that at $11,100.
And if we can somehow get some extra contributions to offset it, fantastic.
Mike was gonna look into that. They went up, last year, they were 6,214. And this year they want to go to 6967.
Yeah.
Well, let's rephrase that, because last year I have down here, 2025, the line item was $6,100. And they want to go 6967, that's $867. They want us to pay that $1,000 good faith demonstration for the water issues. We pay it one way or the other.
Mhm.
Sue, they've always paid that though, haven't they? Out of their money, do you know?
Donation.
Yeah. They have, how much money have they got, Mark? In those two funds, one of them, and it is,
Upwards of 70,000.
and it reflects on the town. Allison's point was, well, it reflects well if it came from the select board.
Mhm.
It comes from the town.
Either way.
Yeah.
I mean, pardon my ignorance with some of this, but there are these pockets of money in town that I'd like to figure out how we can be creative with this and find. So for instance, I mentioned to her last night that if there is some kind of issue with water runoff to the school, that maybe some of the rain gardens or some of that can, I don't know if it's legal or if it's appropriate, but some of that money that comes from these little pockets could be utilized to offset some of these.
Well, those funds with the Conservation Commission do have restrictions on them. The one fund is only for requiring land, and the Great Bay monitoring is $1,000.
Yeah.
I don't see why the Conservation Commission can't pay that out of their disposable income.
It seems appropriate.
Okay.
Yep.
So we'll drop that
Do-
down from the 69.67 to 59.67
Mhm.
for the Concom. Okay.
You want it down to, sorry.
The requested amount was 69.67. And they wanted us to pay, the select board to pay the 1,000 for the Great Bay monitoring. And I don't see, I think they've gotten in the vicinity of like 70-some odd $1,000 in that account, don't they?
Yes, yeah.
And because that's what, when Forrest was here, when Mr. Kuchar resigned, we had him pay for that, was it Silverstein monitoring?
Mhm.
Easement monitoring?
Yep.
Out of those funds instead of us coming to us for money.
Yeah.
So they've got the funds to be able to pay for it, and it's still coming from the town of Newfields.
Are those funds the ones that are in the New Hampshire PDIP, along with one set of funds that's for purchasing of land?
Only.
That only?
Yep.
Mhm.
Is it the other account that is in PDIP, or is this a separate?
I do not know. I do not know the answer.
I don't know. I thought it sounded like it was one fund.
No, it's two separate funds.
Okay.
Maybe you should just look at that. Make sure that.
Okay, we'll put an asterisk on that guy.
They were asking also if they need to make those, pay those bills that, whatever monitoring fees.
The easement monitoring?
Yeah, if they need to pay those this year to just kind of,
One that was done recently?
to reconcile the books
Should
for.
be done by the 31st.
To wrap it up for the fiscal year.
Did you get that question today?
We didn't get a bill for that either.
Yeah.
Maybe emails out of budget.
So I think Christine McDade had asked that question. Do we have to pay these bills before the first?
Are they this year, fiscal year bills, aren't they?
It wouldn't be a bad idea because they still have money in the budget.
Yes.
So if they could get a bill by the end of the year, that would be great. For the first in January.
I'll just email her and say it would be
Thanks for that.
suggested that they, bills get paid, whatever outstanding invoices.
Sue, before I forget, you did make a note on that second noise monitoring. We got to get that paid.
Yes, I just need the bill.
Okay.
I made a note. One other thing I did note.
Oh, ma'am.
The town landing, there isn't a certain line for the town landing. And I
When- Money that he wants to fix the dock.
so we need to make sure we fit that in the budget somewhere.
Okay.
I don't know where. Any suggestions? I don't.
Clerk's office can pay for it.
We do a little extra money in there.
It's built, right? Counts as a town building. It's built.
For repairs to the dock, right?
Yes.
And so of a town building. It's built.
We could take it out of the,
It should be town/building.
that would be other general government buildings or maybe other general government. I just want to make sure we don't forget about it.
Good job.
It's $1,400.
Okay, so those are the easy ones. Cemetery committee
I like it.
is, I'm happy with their budget.
Yep.
What they go to, I don't have, where is it? Hang on, you got the number right?
$100 or something like
It
that?
is right here. They went up due to $3,000 for groundskeeping.
Mhm.
And their budget is 35. $45,250, and they have stayed pretty much there for the past 5-7 years. Anyway, the only thing that's killing them is the mowing cost and everything else.
It was a bump up of 3,000?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thought
And that was for maintenance, cemetery maintenance. Might as well start this nut,
Do it.
cracking this nut now. So I got an email from Wynn, and with the numbers he had in that email, his budget number this time around was $175,000. So $175,115. Last year's was $76,348. This is 129% budget increase. There is no way that I can support that. Absolutely not. And if you look at the handouts that we received from them, we've got one aspect of it. We've got the library, the HVAC, the estimate was 16,422. They're going to have to get that rebid because of the timing issue. So the HVAC is probably going to be 17,500 is what they're asking for.
Mhm.
And I still don't know how the hell we're going to pay for that. Okay. If we go into this new budget, we are looking at a $10 an hour raise for the library director, up to $35 an hour from $25. And then we have $54 an hour in part-time assistant children's librarian, assistant librarian, and a substitute librarian. Their salaries come to a total of $44,736 a year. So even if you subtract those, if you went on the theory, all right, if you want your full-time librarian, then that's the end of the part-time librarians, and you take their salary out, you're still looking at $130,000 budget from $76,000.
I think the idea with that is to not even itemize it and to simply say to them, okay, budget was 75,000 last year. If that 76, and if that $16,000 bill for the heating, you would add that in. So you'd be at like 90 something thousand, period. That would be the max that you would offer as their budget. Leave it at that. And they have to work within that, the confines of that. Cannot have an employee in perpetuity, as I mentioned, $100,000 a year. Just not going to happen. Can't. I'd love to. That would be very nice.
That is a want that is nowhere close to being a need, especially when we're dropping 17.5 for an HVAC system.
I think it's fair enough to say, okay, we'll pay for that HVAC system in that budget, putting that into the budget.
The only thing on that, Mark, is if we're still waiting to see, and I'll give Wynn till next week, whether the Friends of the Library is going to contribute there.
And
Well, then-
it's not in perpetuity, whereas salary, benefits, and all the other stuff is.
And they had mentioned that but Friends of the Library said, we're not going to pay for salaries. But if we are paying for the HVAC, then they're going to have to somehow cough up some money and call it something else. Just general fund for library expenses.
And there was a discussion, and Wynn brought this up a couple times, and then Sue and I had a conversation about it. Because he was all asking about, well, we pay the telephone, the water, the sewer, the electric, and the fuel oil. Well, you pay it with money that you get from the town. So even though it's in your budget, you want it off your budget? Well, I mean, why? For sake of transparency, it should be in his budget.
Semantics. It needs to be in it needs to be budget.
Yeah.
So what's 75,000? What's in from to 90,000? What percentage is that for an increase? 75 divided by 90. Is that it's or does it go the other way? 8% increase? That sound right?
Sounds about right.
So I think that's fair.
So I think we wait till next week, I'll give Win a drop dead date of Tuesday or Monday, make it Monday, because he'll get it to me on Tuesday of what Friends of the Library are gonna do.
Yeah, so we're factoring in, it's like when you had a kid, right? You said, I'm gonna pay you, I'll cover your insurance, but listen, you gotta cough up the money, you're gonna pay for your gas and your own expenses and maintenance, if it's, no, I'm not gonna do that, then we're not gonna have an agreement, not gonna get that car. Same thing.
So if I'm hearing you, but it stays exactly the same plus the HVAC is the
Yeah.
conversation we're having right
Yeah,
now.
I think that's fair enough. I mean, I don't wanna.
I don't know if I-
interject my own opinion in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want
Put it in a small inflation adjuster.
I was, wanted to throw out a couple of ideas. If there's room for some raise, not a jump to the scope that it's looking like. I think my curiosity was, does that also mean for a raise and more hours or same hours?
For that full-time position.
Yeah, it's still the same, right? Not an increase in hours. It's just an increase in rate. Is my understanding, but I want to make sure I'm not wrong.
Or,
For the library director position. When it was worded to,
well, if it's gonna be full-time, it's gotta be more hours.
right, but I'm saying if there was either not an increase in hours and a rate increase, which would give a little wiggle room. And I would say many entities do not offer benefits in retirement when they can't afford to. One of the local small libraries that he used in the example offered an additional, say, paid time off. And other entities offer a stipend back to a person up to a solid dollar amount towards health and medical expenses. Many small companies will give an employee back, say, $2,000 towards receipts for medical, health, whatever that they pay on their own. It's not nothing, but it's not providing a full set of benefits.
But that's based on a full-time employee.
So
So what is our change that he proposed from what to what?
Well, he wants to go to 35.
From what is the person providing us now? Because I thought they were already doing.
25 hours a week.
Oh, okay, so it was a 10-hour and a $10. 10-hour and
Thank you, Sue.
what?
I
Like math.
cannot justify a $10 an hour raise.
Oh, no, my thinking on it is.
Oh, I'm saying what you're trying to do
If
another
we
way.
were to allow a space for raise, increase, not offered as a formal full-time town position with all of the benefits, and see where that puts us percentage-wise for this increase on a budget, does that allow us to have? One of the concerns that came up was the number of bodies present at the time and the concern about incidents of people being there by themselves at certain times. And there being a benefit to there being two people at certain times, so that there's not just one person alone in that library, which impacts, that impacts my opinion on that one. But
System in their way, the library's alarm, is it not?
like a alarm someone can set off.
Does it have a panic button in it?
Panic.
But I don't think it's a lot.
So increasing some hours and a smaller rate increase, maybe that's a potential to meet in the middle to solve two issues. One is to solving retention, and the other is having a director there more often than 25 hours a week. Is that 30 and 30? Is that
Well, then
something
if
else?
the record bumping
What's
up
the
in
math?
that, I would want to drop one of the assistants down.
But then,
But why do we have to approve a line item of salaries? Why can't we just approve a budget dollar amount and let them?
you get paid all that money, Mark.
And that's what we do. We do it by,
This is
we do it by.
That's how it works. Yeah. Plus voters need to know exactly where the money's going. Like that's what it boils down to. People need to be able to see and make
Transparency.
public. Yeah. What exactly are we paying for? And I think that their surveys and research showed that people like the idea of more hours or more bodies or something, but we're not talking about increasing the hours that the library is open. We're looking at potentially retaining a director and adding a little bit more human resource at the library. rather than such a large jump.
I knew there was a reason I
What's
did.
the math?
Yeah.
Who likes to do the math? I don't know.
So, I mean, what about, suggesting, more part-time, employees?
Why do we want more employees?
I'm sorry, I value
Instead-
leadership over,
Bodies.
chiefs over, if you have one chief,
One director and giving them that salary?
the Indians gets out of control. And they think they just want to do what they want to do because they're low paid employees.
What's their current salary?
20, right? No,
25.
25 and.
And they want to jump it to what,
35.
35?
$10 an hour raise is not viable.
No, and 10 more hours a week, is that really necessary? But what would,
Well, it's a $10,000 increase, right? And so. And then the other portion of that is the HVAC, right?
So what would be an acceptable is an acceptable salary for the year?
I mean, I think a half step up to 30. And is it, I want to know what the math would be at 30 for 30 hours to squeeze a few more hours of a leadership position at a rate that's higher and worth hanging out, seeing if that is something doable. The HVAC expense is a big lump, but it's also not in perpetuity. And I would say that's not a benefited position per se.
Absolutely no benefits. No.
Right. And where does that math?
$900, 30 hours, $30, $900 a week.
Okay, compared to,
Easy one.
City, you're awesome, compared to
How is it?
what it is now?
Versus how much?
25 times 30.
Or right now, yeah, she
Not
said
asking.
25.
You got it, Wayne?
25 hours a week,
Yeah.
30.
it's 1,300 hours a year. Times $30 an hour, it's 39,000. That we're looking at, so you're talking $30 an hour?
Mm-hmm.
For
750.
30 hours.
36 weeks a year, I'm sorry, 1560, I'm sorry. So 30 hours a week,
39 grand.
and that's 1560, so.
I think that's,
So you said $30 an hour,
Yeah.
25 hours?
no, for 30 hours, 30 hours a week.
Okay,
Yeah.
so 30 times 30, it's 900.
Times
52
52.
weeks.
900 times 5, 46,800.
4680.
Mhm. With no benefits.
46080.
Yeah, 46,000.
So it's this going from 20,000 to 46,800?
No,
What is it? And
no,
what
it's
is it?
not, it's not 20 now.
So she was at 25 hours, $25 an hour, 30 hours.
Okay, let's see. 25 times 30,
It's 39.
750 to, okay, that's what that 39 to 46.
Yeah, that's like a 7,000.
Okay, gotcha.
So what was the number for a year at 25 at 30 hours?
39,000.
No, that was 30.
25 times 30 hours.
Yep.
750 times 52.
Yep.
That's 39,000. Okay.
Yep.
And then you said 30 hours, 30 times 30
Brings you to 46,800.
times 5.2. That's 46,800.
So it's not, it's working more hours to make more money for a little bit more an hour, not quite the jump. Puts us a little more competitive, not still lowest out of all of them, but more in alignment with, say, Madbury and other smaller libraries. Not,
$7,800 jump,
so what's our final number end up being
46,800.
with the HVAC and everything?
Oh, 7,800 plus 16,000, 23,800. Do we have that money? We have that.
Are you proposing to add 23,800 to the last year's 76,348? Is that what you're thinking?
Does that account for this potential $5 more an hour, 5 hours more a week no benefits plus the HVAC at 17.5.
And so how much?
I don't know, I haven't seen the budget, but it's
Yeah.
more you have to pay for social security when you increase.
Right.
So that has to be all.
Right.
What's,
Just take a look at it.
I didn't see it calculated, but
yeah, what I'd like to do is hammer this out and just get these ideas. And then over the next, through until next week.
Yep.
Get a chance to bring these right down and sharpen the pencil
Mhm.
and bring them right down. Then we, instead of sitting here trying to do
Round numbers.
computations and everything,
Mhm.
we can do it right to the next area. So, I mean, we can figure out, because what's FICA, so 7.5 and FICA is 7.5, isn't it?
So it's 6.2 and 1.45, so
Okay.
7.65.
Yeah, so we can figure it out. I mean, go through it, figure it out, and I don't have a problem because of see if I've got it here handy.
Mhm.
What we've done on the library budgets in the past years,
Mhm.
we've increased them, okay, in 2021, it was 63,000, 2022 was 64, 2023 was 72, 2024 was 73, and we went up $3,000 in 25. And
it's everything.
yeah, to 76. And I'm kind of in the same frame of keeping it within those kind of numbers for increasing it.
So maybe you have the HVAC as a one-off expense somewhere else.
Well, it's going to have to go into their budget. But if we just put that separately and look at the trend that we've had since 21 on taking care of it and just
Mhm.
continue to follow within that window instead of,
So,
that's a huge raise going 39. I mean, in this, for our budget to go from 39,000 to 47,000,
sure,
that's,
sure.
I mean, we could put it somewhere else, but it's all coming out of the same.
Same
Yeah.
line.
Yeah, but I,
come out of the,
Feel better.
Well, and I
what,
guess,
for the HVAC?
It's a one-time.
Yeah.
It's a one-time expense that won't be in their budget next year.
yes,
They might, I'm not sure.
that's what I'm saying, that budget, they'll look at it the next year and say, okay, we're at 90. Now we want 100. That's only a
There you go.
10,000,
Good luck with that.
you know? So
so thinking about,
It should-
rate versus more hours.
it should only include the hours.
There, and maybe it's, push it down, maybe it's 3 and 3. Or something like that, you know, makes a position marketable, because again, we're marketing a position, we're not buying a person. And if we had to replace that person, maybe there's an opportunity to look at,
I still think that HVAC maintenance needs to go be a line item on the library budget, just so it's good.
so it's clear where it's getting
There.
spent.
And then if they try and come back next year, well, we're coming close to 100 and go, yeah, but you got a new HVAC system. All right, why don't we do that?
Try to match that the following year. They're not going to say, well, let's stay at 90 again.
Well, the Russian judge gives you a 9 for initiative, but the American judge says, no, it's not going to happen. So why don't we sharpen our pencils using these options?
Yeah.
And again, I would like to stay close to the level of
To what
increase that
we've been
we've been
doing.
working for the past 5 or 6 years.
Mhm.
And then if Wynn wants to pursue his petition, he has every right to do so.
I think, yeah, we need to have a budget that works that we can agree on so when people are voting,
Well,
a no vote means
at
yes, and a
at
yes vote means
deliberative
this.
session
Yeah,
and at the
exactly.
budget hearing, we have to be able to sit here and look people in the eye and tell them what we're doing.
Yeah,
And I guarantee you, if we had $175,000 budget, we get run out of rail.
yeah, I'm not for it. Yeah,
Right.
for something, just need to figure out what's suitable and makes sense.
Celebration, so next, Monday, we'll take I haven't signed my stuff yet,
Oh,
so,
you haven't?
no,
Why won't at all?
we'll take the razor blade to the executive budget. And then after that, we'll go shooting.
I think that's some in my budget.
No.
Right, and then you go to the town hall and there's no pens in the thing.
Oh.
Just kidding.
Other items then?
So I think we're good. We've got Monday,
Yeah. Monday at
and we'll get that all noticed.
Mhm.
No, before 3.
do my best to come. Well, my wife had made these plans down in Boston, so coming back.
Um,
I'll be remote. I could either do remote for a short amount of time and then walk in, so.
if there is no other new business, I will make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Hi.
The meeting is over at 8:34.
Oh, really?
Meeting on Monday at 3 at select board.